Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary and explanation of all Trailblaze missions released in the game Honkai Star Rail version 3.0. After some discussion, the Astral Express crew decided to go to Amphoreus, a mysterious world that is hard to reach. The Astral Express is a space train seemingly powered by exploration, and Amphoreus is a world they've never been to before. Going there would help the Astral Express refuel. They got the idea to go to Amphoreus from Black Swan, a current passenger on the Astral Express. Black Swan is a memo keeper, a follower of the Garden of Recollection. Memo keepers have a duty to collect memories, and Black Swan wants to go to Amphoreus and collect its memories. The Astral Express warps to Amphoreus, where Black Swan somehow pulls aside an empty patch of space to reveal the world. Black Swan explains Amphoreus is home to 3 paths: erudition, remembrance, and a 3rd path currently unknown to her. They then notice March 7th is missing and check on her. March 7th seems really sick, and after some examination they theorize it's because of Amphoreus. They let March 7th rest and come up with a plan. The Trailblazer and Dong Hung will visit Amphoreus, Black Swan will take care of March 7th, and the rest of them will serve other needs. Using a train car modified by Pom Pom and Himiko, Dong Hung and the Trailblazer go to Amphoreus. On the way over, they get shot down and crash. The Trailblazer and Dong Hung later wake up on the surface and scout out the area. They find a cute pink creature floating around and get in a fight with some hostile life forms that resemble statues. Side note, they find out later these hostile life forms are called Titankin. A man named Finon soon intervenes with a girl named Tribby. Finon explains the Titankin are minions of Nikador, the Strife Titan. Dong Hung and the Trailblazer introduce themselves and say they are not from this world. Finon and Tribby are a little surprised and encourage them to keep that a secret. Finon and Tribby take them to a nearby temple where they help evacuate refugees being attacked by the Titankin. Afterwards, they chat and Finon provides some answers. First, Amphoreus is going through a time of strife as the world is seemingly about to end. Second, the Titans are the ancient gods of Amphoreus. Humanity once worshipped them, but they are now enemies. Third, Finon and Tribby are Chrysos heirs, which seem to be a group of heroes on Amphoreus. Fourth, Chrysos heirs seem to be able to perform miracles granted by the Titans. For example, Tribby can awaken shadows of the past and alter reality. After the chat, they gather the refugees and evacuate to the city of Okhema. Once there, they find Okhema is also being attacked by the Titankin. The Trailblazer and Dong Hung fight alongside Tribby and Finon and defend the city. As they fight, they learn Tribby is one of 3 identical girls and the other 2 are named Trian and Trinon. The trio are seemingly considered a singular being. They also meet Mighty, Castorist, and Aglaea, who are also Chrysos heirs. They eventually find the Strife Titan and defeat it, causing the Titankin to retreat. Trian secretly follows the retreating Titankin. Afterwards, they realize the Strife Titan they defeated was only a double of lesser power. The real Strife Titan is hiding somewhere else. Aglaea then welcomes the Trailblazer and Dong Hung as guests and agrees to explain some things about Amphoreus. Before leaving for some public baths, Aglaea allows the Trailblazer to lay down a beacon of the Trailblaze. Dong Hung explains this is a ceremonial practice for when they land somewhere new. They soon reach the public baths, where bath sprites start telling them of Amphoreus' history. Long ago, 12 Titans took a world in chaos and established natural and conceptual laws, creating Amphoreus. These Titans also created humanity. Sometime after, the Titans and their human followers went to war. During that war, a prophecy appeared saying the only way to stop this war was to raise a band of heroes to fight the Titans and take their Coreflames. Only then will peace return to the world. Those heroes are known as the Chrysos heirs. After the bath sprites finish their history lesson, Aglaea takes the Trailblazer somewhere alone and wraps some golden thread around her hand. Aglaea says they now cannot lie to each other and explains things further. Aglaea says the Titans once ruled Amphoreus but are now destroying it. An unfathomable power appeared and somehow drove the Titans mad. This broke Amphoreus, which now endures an eternal night, except for Okhema, which receives light from Kefali, the world-bearing Titan. The Chrysos heirs are revered heroes, tasked with defeating the Titans, taking their Coreflames, and taking the Titans' authority for humanity. Only after taking the Coreflames of all 12 Titans can something called the Miracle of Genesis begin, which can fix Amphoreus. Aglaea believes the Trailblazer and Dong Hung may be exactly the reinforcements the Chrysos heirs needed for this mission. Lastly, Aglaea asks the Trailblazer to never tell the people of Okhema about the worlds beyond Amphoreus, and the Trailblazer agrees. Aglaea ends their conversation and suggests the Trailblazer and Dong Hung go take a tour of the city. The Trailblazer and Dong Hung do exactly that. Afterwards, they get a message to meet with Aglaea and head over. Along the way, they learn that a resident of Okhema named Damionis is telling everyone the Trailblazer is from beyond the sky. Seeing as the Trailblazer promised Aglaia she would keep that a secret, they decide to track Damionis down. They soon find him cornered by the authorities. Damionis says he is going to use a nearby device to travel beyond the sky. It's obvious to all but Damionis that his plan will fail, that the failure will lead to him falling from a great height, and that this fall is guaranteed to kill him. In order to save his life, the Trailblazer confirms with Damionis that she is indeed from beyond the sky. The authorities then arrest Damionis and admonish the Trailblazer for spreading this information. The Trailblazer and Dongheng then enlist the help of a local gossip who they hope will cover up the rumors Damionis was spreading. They then meet with Aglaia, who gives them a room they can stay in while they're on Amphoreus. Aglaia then takes them to a wash basin in their room that transports them to a place called the Vortex of Genesis. Once there, Aglaia binds them with threads. Aglaia says she's been monitoring them and saw them break their promise with what they said to Damionis. Aglaia will now interrogate them, and if they lie, Castorist, who is also there, will kill them. Aglaia also explains why the worlds beyond Amphoreus are kept a secret. It is because attempting to leave Amphoreus is forbidden by the Titans. The last time someone tried, that person and their entire country were destroyed by the Titans. Knowing that, they made talking about outer space illegal, as just one person attempting to leave Amphoreus could get everyone killed. They then proceed with the interrogation, and luckily they make it through. The Trailblazer and Dongheng are released, though Aglaia says she still doesn't trust them. Phainon soon pops in and vouches for the Trailblazer, as does Castorus. Aglaia leaves, and Phainon and Castorus explain past generations of Chrysos heirs already retrieved 6 Coreflames, meaning they only have 6 more to go. Aglaia and Tribi's trio are demigods and the ones who assembled this generation's Chrysos heirs. Phainon goes on and says the Titans are pillars that hold up Amphoreus. The prophecy states these 12 pillars must be shattered so that they can reconstruct the world's order through the miracle of Genesis. However, after a Titan falls, someone must fill the Titan's vacant seat until the prophesized reconstruction, or else the world would collapse. Aglaia and Tribi already defeated their Titans, taken their Coreflames, filled their vacant seats, and become something both human and divine. It is the mission of all the Chrysos heirs to do what Aglaia and Tribi have done. Phainon was chosen by the prophecy and wants the Strife Titan's Coreflame. Phainon then invites the Trailblazer to hunt down the Strife Titan with him and provide some more information. First, it's not clear how the prophecy chooses people except that it favors those in dire circumstances and bestows miracles upon them. Second, they don't know where all the Chrysos heirs or demigods that currently exist are. The Trailblazer then hears the voice of the Titans and agrees to help Phainon and the Chrysos heirs. Side note, players can choose to decline helping, which leads to the Astral Express leaving Amphoreus, Black Swan leaving the Astral Express, and March 7th getting sicker. The credits then roll as the game is now over. The game will then restart and the player will return to Phainon's request with the option to decline removed. The Trailblazer and Dongheng go back to their room to rest, and we move to Tribi talking to Aglaia. Aglaia says her threat earlier was a bluff and she wouldn't have really killed the Trailblazer. Aglaia also says that eventually they plan on leaving the fate of Amphoreus in their hands, just as Tribi foresaw. They also mention crafting armor for the Deliverer. We move back to the Trailblazer, who dreams about hearing a cute voice. The Trailblazer wakes up and gets a message Trian's found the Strife Titan's location. They meet up with the Chrysos heirs, where the Trailblazer, Phainon, and Mighty party up to hunt down the Strife Titan. Trian opens something called a Century Gate and transports them to Castrum Kremnos, a now deserted city. Mighty is the former crown prince of Kremnos and led his people to Okhema after the Strife Titan went mad. They make their way through the city and reach a giant sword hanging over the city called the Blade of Fury. Mighty explains the Blade of Fury belongs to the Strife Titan and can destroy entire cities. They eventually reach the Strife Titan and fight him. They defeat the Strife Titan, or so they think. The Strife Titan revives and points the Blade of Fury at the World-Bearing Titan and Okhema. Mighty tells him to head back and warn Okhema while he stays and holds off the Strife Titan. The Trailblazer, Phainon, and Trian return to Okhema and warn Aglaia. Aglaia says Tribi is preparing their defenses and that they need to figure out how to overcome the Strife Titan's seeming immortality. Castorus suggests they ask the Time Titan about the past, as there seems to be some history between the Titans relating to the Strife Titan's immortality. Finon, Castorus, the Trailblazer, and Dong Hung head to a place called the Abyss of Fate while Aglaya and Tribi defend the city. They arrive at a place called the Temple of Three Fates and travel through it. As they progress, we learn Tribi got her Coreflame from the Passage Titan and Aglaya got hers from the Romance Titan. As for the fallen Law Titan's Coreflame, the Chrysos heir who took it is nowhere to be found. They eventually reach the Time Titan, who initially refuses to help. Just then, the Time Titan recognizes something in the Trailblazer and calls to its mother. The Time Titan establishes a connection to the Trailblazer, and we once again see the cute pink creature we saw when we first landed on Amphoreus. They have a chat and look into the Trailblazer's memories. We learn that though the Trailblazer doesn't remember it, she used to be a member and friend of the Stellaron Hunters. The pink creature then shows up and the Time Titan tells the creature to accompany the Trailblazer as she will find Mother. The pink creature's name is Mem. Mem says it can help find the Strife Titan's weakness. The Trailblazer then wakes up back with the others and Mem is also there. It seems fully the Aeon of Remembrance gazed upon the Trailblazer and Mem is somehow related. Side note, during the connection, the Time Titan also referred to someone as Skyfather, likely referring to the Aeon of Remembrance. They return to Okhema and Donghung and Finon head to Castrum Kremnos to help Mighty. In the meantime, Mem somehow creates a gateway through time, and the Trailblazer, Castorus, and Mem go through to the Castrum Kremnos of the past. Specifically, this is the Castrum Kremnos that existed right before its fall, which was still ruled by King Euripon, and when Mighty just left the city and led a bunch of his people to Okhema. Castorus thinks they should head to the center of the city and they sign up for a festival competition. Winners of the competition earn an audience with the king and are granted access to the center of the city. Since a party of 3 is required to enter the competition, a random gladiator named Nias signs up with them. The 3 enter the competition, and along the way they learn this festival was really held to attract entrants for use as sacrifices for a ritual. This ritual was ordered by King Euripon and seeks to strip the Strife Titan of its divinity and seal it in separate statues. That way the Strife Titan's body would become immortal. As they progress, Nias also figures out they're from the future. They eventually find the statues and destroy them, returning the Strife Titan its divinity. Nias then tells them that when the Black Tide first approached Amphoreus, the Strife Titan was the first to fight it. Side note, the Black Tide refers to the power invading Amphoreus that Aglaya mentioned earlier. The Black Tide then corrupted the Strife Titan, but before that corruption was complete, it stripped away a part of its divinity to protect it. Nias is that stripped piece of the Strife Titan's divinity. Nias now thinks the Strife Titan cannot be saved from corruption and plans on rejoining the Strife Titan. This would remove the Strife Titan's immortality, allowing them to kill it in the present day. Nias then merges back with the Strife Titan, which somehow sends them back to the present where Mighty, Finon, and Donghung are currently fighting it. Together, they fight and defeat the Strife Titan, but not before it uses the Blade of Fury to launch an attack at Okhema. Tribi blocks the attack, and it seems Okhema is safe. They grab the Strife Titan's Coreflame and return to Okhema. We move now to the real Herta's perspective. Herta is trying to fix a problem with something called the Audience System, which is necessary for contacting Nous, the Aeon of Erudition. In a prior mission, we saw Herta contact Nous. Turns out, that was just a hologram and Herta has not yet met Nous. Herta tries to fix the Audience System and finds the problem, which is a Memo Snatcher. Memo Snatchers are followers of the Garden of Recollection and the Path of Remembrance, and this one sought to steal memories related to Nous. Herta traps the Memo Snatcher in a mirror, fixes the Audience System, and tries to make contact with Nous. Right in the middle of Herta's attempt, Sunday and Welt arrive. Herta stops her attempt and Welt asks for help as they've lost contact with the Trailblazer and Donghung, and March 7th is getting sicker. We go back to the Trailblazer as the Chrysos heirs perform the Coreflame ritual and add the Strife Titan's Coreflame to the Vortex of Genesis. Finon then undertakes the trial to become a demigod as the rest of them wait for the trial's completion. We then see a scene of a young Finon talking with someone about his future before moving back to the Astral Express and March 7th. March 7th is lying in bed with what is likely 6-faced ice growing all around her. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you like what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.